Could you elaborate on how the Apple Vision Pro's specific focus on video pass-through technology differentiates it from typical headsets and what implications this might have for user experience and productivity?
I think the fact that Apple don't call their Vision Pro headset goggles VR speaks to the goal that I think Apple is going for. So one of the main things you'll see, and I don't own a set, I'll own them if they were given to me, but I'm not paying $3,500 for it. That's insane. But the fact that they've focused on video pass-through, you can still see what's going on in front of your face. It's not this closed immersive experience. And then it's really focused on the overlaying of applications into your environment. And that's what they're calling spatial computing. To me, it's really obvious that their goal is to have AR in glasses like this. And I think truly that when it's in this, only then will you see this mass adoption of that technology. Because this is functional and easy, not that. That's too much. But there's a lot of technological issues that they have to deal with, battery power, all of that stuff. While I think Apple haven't been really pushing technological innovation boundaries for a long time, it's really that their direction of overlaying technology onto the environment, that's the differentiator. That is really setting where Apple is going to go, and of course, where the rest of the industry is going to go for those types of goggles.
The emphasis on overlaying technology onto our physical environment, rather than creating isolated digital experiences, appears to be a key differentiator poised to influence future industry trends. Building on this, how does the integration of AI vision processing, as seen in applications like the Wayfair app, enhance the user experience in these mixed reality environments?
So if you've seen it, Wayfair have released an app for the Vision Pro. And what it's doing is image recognition of an environment. So I can look at a couch and then using that app, it can then search for that and then give me the shopping cart to make a purchase. And that is in a retail experience, I think is really interesting. Now, again, while there are some Vision Bros running around with these things on, it's way too early a technology for that type of shopping to come out. I think it's incredibly telling because if you had that type of AR in systems like this, and you were connected to a large retailer operation, you could be constantly processing information and doing this level of shopping sort of access near constantly. I would assume as a user, you would turn it on and off. But as you start to build personal assistants and they can understand what your needs and requirements are, if you've got it in here, you go to a shop, it can connect to the shop's AI. It can see where you are. And if they have an AI or a system that would interface with what you've got, you walk in, you just look around, there is the product, make the purchase. And I think it's incredibly telling about the potential future that we're going towards with that technology. I don't think early on we're going to be walking into IKEA, picking up the Vision and running around in the store. That would be incredibly expensive for them to do, also very icky in experience. But within a couple of years, I would say maybe 5 years of technology growth from where we're at, because don't forget, VR and AR has been around for a long time. I was first turned onto it when I got on the Oculus Kickstarter, and I think that was in '08, maybe 2012. So it's been a very slow evolution up to this point. Maybe it's user demand, but it may be just the technology, the desire's been there, but the technology's taken way too long to catch up. But within a few years, that technology will continue to miniaturize, and I would be very surprised if that Wayfair app experience isn't the default shopping experience in.
You've painted a vivid picture of the transformative potential AI vision processing holds for retail environments, particularly through the example of Wayfair's app for the Vision Pro. Given this trajectory towards highly intuitive AI-enhanced shopping experiences, how do you see personal artificial intelligence further evolving within devices like Vision Pro, especially in terms of functionalities like payment processing?
I don't think it's going to be particularly long before we all have a personal AI assistant. We kind of have a very basic version of this now in like Google and Siri, where it has some generic understanding of us, but it's not highly personalized. So it doesn't have access to sort of all of our data, all of our conversation. And I think this is because of how they're monetizing it. It's more understanding of basic demographics of who we are, because that's what advertisers use to target ads. And so, advertisers don't target you specifically. They target a large group of people that fit your persona profile. And that's how you get the ads. But if we take one additional step, with Google building AIs that are very small, specific specifically their Gemini Lite, I think it's called, which is built just for mobile phones. If I was able to have an AI running locally that is just mine, that the data comes in and stays within my environment, that can build an understanding of my wants and needs and assist me far more than any of the larger companies, right? No company is going to build that without the ability to interface with that because it needs to sell you stuff. And that's where I think once we have this personal AI environment, we'll start to see applications and API interface that allows AIs to communicate with each other, some level of handshake. So when I walk into a shop, my personal AI can handshake with the shop AI and they can start communicating. The shop AI can say, hey, what did you come here to purchase? My AI will say, well, he came here for this. And there can be some level of conversation happen. And then if I'm wearing glasses and it has AR in it, it can direct me to where I need to go to have a look. That kind of seems a bit science fiction. I don't think it is science fiction anymore. I think that's absolutely where things are going. The security and the protection, the data protection issues of AI. Where is that information going? If it's stored locally, and it's kind of hard because to get a good understanding of everything I need, my AI would want to have access to like my emails, my messages, my chats, my conversations, the way I talk to the Google at home, location, maybe documents, which Google kind of already has that information, but it's not processed in a way that builds like an embedded model or a fine-tuned model on just my stuff. But if Google was to say the new Android has an AI, give it access to your Gmail account, give it access to your messages, give it access to all of the stuff Google kind of has, and it will build that understanding of you, which, I mean, when we talk about the security and privacy, you're already giving it to Google. It's just had a second thing that's building a database of you and then interfacing with your personal AI. It's kind of a gray area of security and confidentiality because that data is already with Google if you're a Google user, or that data is already with Apple if you're using all of the Apple ecosystem. So I think if you opt in, they'll just build it. But the last part is really the payment processing. That'll take a while. Because let's say, again, you've walked into your shop, your personal AI has done a handshake with the shop AI. It's told you where, that widget is. You go to the widget, your glasses have said, here's the details on the widget. You go to purchase. Now, at that point, your AI, would it have access to your credit card details and give it to the shop AI and make it work? Would that happen? Or would you still have to have some level of control? And I think if you gave it absolute control, the experience could be, I don't even have to go. AI, I need this, go and get that for me. And it understands my needs, my wants, my requirements. It understands my purchasing behavior. I don't like to buy brand stuff because I think that's a waste of money. So we would look for non-branded stuff, right? So it's got this level of understanding, but can it make that purchase for me? I think that's going to take a lot of trust.
Your insights suggest a rapidly approaching future where personal AI assistants evolve beyond their current, relatively rudimentary forms into highly personalized, data-sensitive entities capable of making independent decisions based on a detailed understanding of individual preferences and needs. Considering the promising yet challenging landscape you've outlined, what steps do you think are crucial for businesses and technology developers to take in order to safely and successfully integrate personal AI assistants in daily life, especially in ways that maintain user trust and privacy?
One of the big problems developers have is when they're learning development, there are no ethics courses. It's really down to they build whatever they want, how they want, because they want to create something. Very, very few developers will ever think about the ramifications and the ethics of what they're building. Now, when it comes to a personal AI, I'm all for that because the language model itself, if that can sit in my phone, in my server, and it only has access to my data that I give it, then its ability to understand everything I'm doing and be my assistant would be an amazing level up in just getting shit done. The challenges that remain for like that level of personal assistant, it's not far away. It's just really technological issues. For one, the language model needs to be small enough and smart enough to fit in my phone. So the Google small language model, the Gemini small language model, that does fit in your phone, but it is nowhere near as good as GPT. But the problem is GPT needs to run on big, big servers that couldn't operate like that. It has to be within a personal environment. So you need a language model that'll run as a small package, and that doesn't yet quite exist. But the speed at which developers are making these language models smaller and smaller and better is phenomenal. The second part of the challenge is that we need a better interface. The Vision Pro interface that is a really good indication of where we're going, that it will be in here. When I have a personal AI that's integrated into my glasses with artificial reality, so it can see what I see when I need it to see, it can overlay information when I need the information, and it can communicate to me in a way that I want, then we can get over the kind of interface interaction issues that exist today. I personally like using the conversational chat that GPT has. I really like that, but it's still not private enough. I can see the technology evolving to a point where it's still going to require that it has to be processed by a company. And that's where it'll be a hard pill to swallow to get people on board, because it's still not your data. I can't see it being too long before it is really held locally and supported locally and owned locally and powered locally, where that personal AI assistant will really come into its own. I'm really excited for that.